Today's podcast is brought to you by A&B Education, bringing intercultural education to talented students from around the world. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Fro Life Educational Podcast. This week we'll be looking at first steps in determining which program would be best for you in higher education. We look at the job market analysis for some of the most and least popular majors while looking to narrow the choices by answering a few common questions that can really help to focus your search on institutions that would best suit your needs and long-term aspirations. So for those of you who don't know too much about Fro Life planning, I want to give you a little background so you understand where I'm coming from. I started college and career consulting in 2013 with the desire to provide a service to inner city students that I taught in the school district of Philadelphia. I saw a large number of talented students who, for one reason or another, didn't know the power and the opportunity that would be there for them if they contributed their best efforts to learning. After several years in that public school system, I ran into a particular group of students who I thought were more gifted than any of them thought they were. They had such a strong bond, they were so intelligent, but none of them had a family member who had gone to college, and thus they had no idea what their options were. So, after keeping in touch with them from 7th through 12th grade, I'm happy to announce that all 6 of those students in that little cluster there are currently enrolled in college programs of their dreams. They're all doing very well, and I couldn't be more proud of their hard work and effort. So how did they get there? What did they do? It sounds like a really complicated question. But really, it starts with smart searching. Students or adults looking to enter higher education need some form of structure to aid them in making the best decisions and turning those decisions into a viable plan for success. Today we're focusing on narrowing down our search and finding a way to limit the number of schools to a manageable research plan. In most cases, I encourage those I work with to cultivate a list of 5 schools they feel strongly about applying to. This should include one dream school, one that they absolutely would love going to. It should include 3 schools that are in their wheelhouse. They feel really confident they're going to be able to get into, and a final school that's really a fallback school, a school that they know they'll get into with virtually no effort, but is of a higher status than their local community college. As we all know, everyone can shoot for the local community college, and some are absolutely amazing local community colleges, but that's a topic for another day. To start your process, ask yourself a few questions. Where am I going to live? Am I going to be one of those students who wants to go live on campus? Do I want a dorm? Do I want off-campus housing? Or do I want to go to an institution that's close enough to my home that I don't have to worry about paying room, board, rent, any of those things? Do I have family members who are willing to let me stay with them for the next 4 years while I knock out this college program? Those are incredibly important things to think about. Next is, how am I going to pay for college? Yes, you can go, and everybody in January of the year before you start school should start filling out their FAFSA, their federal student aid application. Fill it out. You're going to get some semblance of money from the federal government, some form of grant of some kind. Here in Pennsylvania, where I'm at, you'll get a Pell Grant, you'll get some FIA money. But those things are not supposed to be the backbone of your financial planning for college. Are your parents going to take out a loan for you? Are you going to apply for government-funded loans, private loans? Are you going to get specialized loan programs based on your program? These are all topics we'll talk about in a future episode, but definitely something to think about. How big do I want the school to be? I know that may seem like such a generic question, but the reality is, if you're planning your course schedule, right, you've got one class that's on the far northwest side of the campus, and your next class is on the southeast side of the campus. That could be a heck of a walk in the middle of the winter time if you're going into, say, fall semester and it's December and you got to get from one final to the next. Or in January, February when you're starting out your spring semester and you got to be trucking around campus trying to find your way around. Something definitely to think about is whether you want that huge school or do you want something a little more moderate. Is there any special thing that you want the school to offer, such as sports, performing arts? Do you think you're going to get a scholarship for football, soccer, basketball, marching band, whatever it is? Take a look and see what the likelihood of getting one of those opportunities is. How many classes do I really want to have to take each semester? If you want to get government aid, you got to take at least 2 classes, be a part-time student. If you want to go and be a full-time student, that's at least 4 classes. Many parents who want to keep their child on their health insurance have to have a full-time enrolled college student. Well, 4 classes is full-time. There are students who stress this every year. I got to take 5 or 6 or 7 classes. No, you really don't. You do if you want to finish early or finish in that 4-year period. But if that's not your primary concern, if you just want to, take the time and get quality grades and contribute as much energy as you can to each class, you may not want to take 6 classes or even 5 classes. But you do have to take 4 to get your government-funded money. Am I going to stick with fall and spring semesters, or am I going to be willing to go during the summertime? I don't know about you, but the whole time I've been in college, I've done an associate's, I've done a bachelor's, a master's, some post-grad degrees, working on a doctorate, all those kinds of things, and I've always been open to summer sessions. They're a great opportunity for smaller class size, more of an intimate connection with your professors, and it makes it so you can speed up the process of getting your degree out of the way in a shorter period of time. It also, for those people who don't want to take 5 classes in the spring or in the fall, you could take 4 and 4, and then you could nab your 5th class over the summer session. Spread out your workload. Make it so you can really focus on your classes. Most important of all, what do I want to go for? This is the complicated question that can be a topic of its own, but for today, we're going to assume that everyone knows exactly what they want to do when they go into the higher ed world. Once we address these concerns, we can start to narrow down our search, which leads us to our wonderful resources that you can use to help in the process of finding the right school for you. One of the best resources for comparing schools and determining which would best suit your needs is the U.S. News and World Report's Best Colleges 2017, which is available both at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. In this book, you're able to really break down the offerings of each school. See if there's a fit for you. Is there a program that you absolutely want to be a part of? For example, one of my students this past year, we were looking at, they have an interest in the sciences, but not biology or physics or chemistry. They don't want to be a professor or a lab assistant. They want to be a forensic psychologist and do crime investigative work. Well, there are some colleges that don't offer that as a major. But you can look at colleges that do offer it and see what programs they need you to look at to lead to those career opportunities. We were able to look at different schools and find a program that was the perfect fit for a particular student, where they were able to go in, they get their undergrad 4-year degree in a side program, but they get guaranteed admission to a master's program in forensic science. Worked out very well for that student. As a matter of fact, they ended up getting $23,000 per semester in guaranteed financial aid from the school and a scholarship. Those are the kinds of things that you're going to want to look at. So that's all the time we have for this episode, but check back with us in episode 2, where we're going to use the answers to some of these questions we discussed today to help inform our decision. Make sure that you made a list of those questions and answer those things for yourself. So when you come back for episode 2, you can use those answers to help inform our decisions, and we'll delve deeper into the question of selecting a major that'll provide career opportunities once you finish your program, and make it so, hey, look, nobody wants to go to a job where you're like, oh my gosh, I got to go to work today. You want to go to that job where you're like, this is what I do. This is my thing. This is my passion. The people around me know that I'm passionate about it. I'm going to get promoted because I work hard, because I love what I do. That's what we're looking to do. If you can find the career that allows you to do that, you will be successful in whatever career endeavor you choose to take. And that's the target of Fro Life Planning. That's all the time we have for this episode, but special thanks go out this week to bensound.com, purpleplanet.com, and Monk Turner for producing all of our music and sound effects that we use throughout today's show. Today's podcast was sponsored in part by Fofi Metal Detectors Plus. Whether you're the casual hunter, the energetic beachcomber, or the underwater enthusiast, Fofi detectors have solutions for all your metal detecting needs. To A&B Education of Lansdale, bringing intercultural education to talented students from around the world. We want to thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we encourage you to go to our website at www.frolifeplanning.com to learn more about what Mr. Fro can do for you. This month, all Fro Life podcast listeners get a free phone interview to go over your college planning preparation, and if you sign up for one of our monthly plans, receive 25% off all planning sessions throughout your undergraduate program. That's right, 4 years, 5 or 6 if you want to stretch it out, but through the entire duration of your undergraduate program, 25% off. Remember, Fro Life Education and Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro, and I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today, and we look forward to sending out more tips and tricks to finding your way through higher education soon. Until then, keep the focus on not just moving up, but moving higher in education.